The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you, as always, by everybody who supports patreon.com/JuRY. But you know that we're not going to do that right now. We're going to talk a lot about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Hurricane Harvey throughout the show. So I'm going to take this time right now to encourage everybody to donate whatever they can to some of the relief efforts. I'm going to link in the show notes on the Patreon, on patreon.com/JuRY when this goes up. A Vox article that gives you a really good summary of places where you can give, but I'm just going to list off a couple names right now. The American Red Cross, I donated yesterday to that. All Hands, which is an on-the-ground Texas organization. Global Giving, Foundation Beyond Belief, Greater Houston Community Fund, local food banks, including the Houston, Galveston, Corpus Christi, and Southeast Texas Food Bank, the Houston Humane Society, Carter Blood Care, and the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center, AmeriCares, Portlight, SPB, and Airbnb, which is where, if you are local to Houston, you are listening to us in the Houston area, they are offering people places to stay. So if you like this show, you know that this show is about empathy. It is about looking out for everybody. Hurricanes are something that are very personal to me growing up in South Florida. So it is something that I very much can sympathize with and I have empathy toward. I encourage you to support those in need right now. But enough of talking about how we can help. What do you say we help ourselves to a silly little show? Let's do it!
Ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby.
Come on.
But that's fine.
You're pretty ugly by most people's standards.
But you're all right by mine.
Oh, ladies and gents. I'll tell you what, man. It's a real melancholy kind of day. Like I mentioned before, I've said on this show, grew up in South Florida, where hurricanes are a way of life. The local news will often, or does, cover during hurricane season, not only everything that is happening there in your region, but also the coast of Africa, just to see which tropical depressions are forming off the coast of Africa that could possibly begin to think about being a problem. If there is one natural disaster for which I feel tremendous sympathy for, it is hurricanes. And it's because I've been through a few really nasty ones. And, it's the 25th anniversary a couple days ago of Hurricane Andrew, which was a defining moment in South Florida history, in my life, my young life. It was something that we were bracing for. In my area, Broward County was set to take the brunt of it. It would have been something that could have been devastating for us. At the last second, Andrew went south and wound up crushing Homestead, which is just a bit south of Miami, for those of you not familiar with South Florida geography. And it leveled it. It just completely destroyed that area. Right now, what we are seeing in Houston is something different. Normally, hurricane damage is very messy, very wet, but the worst of it is the tornado-y elements of it. It's kind of like a slower, more devastating tornado. What we're seeing in Houston is kind of the opposite. We are seeing a massive hurricane not only do the kind of damage with wind, but really more devastatingly just stalling off the coast of Texas and dropping so much rain. By the way, apparently today is the 12th anniversary of Katrina. So here's where I want to focus. There's a lot of things that kind of swirl around a natural disaster like this. This is a rare event. I believe this will break rainfall records in Texas, certainly for a storm. The damage that will be done is a lot more unique than I think people are really kind of understanding. Whenever you have something with standing water like this, effectively everything that was in that kind of standing water is done. What you get is mold, black mold, very dangerous, toxic mold that forms. And it's already broken all the records. Okay. The people that have survived this will be dealing with this kind of damage for probably the next 5 years, if not the next decade. So I will say everything that we're going to talk about from here on out, please understand that it starts with a baseline of empathy. We're going to try to have a bit of a good time in terms of talking around the margins of some of the silliness that can go on around an event like this, but understand where it comes from. I view myself, and I view my family, and I view my friends in the survivors of Houston, because I've seen my family and my friends survive hurricanes before. The good news is, now's the time to remodel. If you survived this hurricane, make sure that you take all those pictures, because it's time to cash in on that homeowner's insurance. Because you're getting new floors, you're getting new countertops. I mean, I think the last big hurricane that came through that came through South Florida was a double dipper of one summer. They got Wilma and Katrina in the same summer, which ripped through a lot of. It just went right through Florida, and a lot of my friends I knew got new kitchens. a lot of new kitchens, a lot of new marble tile, and it's just the way it is, it's wrecked. The first one, if all your shit's wrecked, you got to get it new. So you get whatever you get from the insurance company, and then throw in whatever else on top of it. So there is silver lining on the horizon. Everybody will rebuild. I very much believe in the spirit of Texas to make sure that this is going to be something that they can recover from. But my heart goes out to everybody. If you are a JuRY listener in the Houston, Corpus Christi area, go ahead and email in. I want to hear about this situation from you. And if there is any levity that we can bring to your life, that is what we want to do on this stream. So that's my Harvey talk. Let's move into to some other fun stuff. All right, here. Pitch to the chat room. Do we want to keep going with Harvey talk? Or we got Taylor Swift has a new song. We can break down her song lyrics. Or we can talk about a 12-year-old who got a tattoo. I'm going to pitch this one to the chat. If you don't listen to us live, you can do so. Twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. Go ahead, chat. What do you think? We want to keep rolling. As far as Harvey goes, we're going to talk about Joel Osteen, and we're going to talk about a reason why you don't ride out a storm like this. All right, people seem to be into the tattoo. Let's talk about the tattoo. We'll come back to the Harvey stuff. This is an article from Lex18.com, Lexington, Kentucky's NBC affiliate. Headline, mother charged after elementary student gets tattoo. This is from Coweta County, Georgia. A Jesus Loves tattoo on an elementary school student led to the arrest of the girl's mother and the tattoo artist. I also want to take this time right now to remind everybody that if you enjoy the JuRY Show and you will be in the Atlanta area this weekend, Saturday, we are doing the live OPP show, Other People's Pain. Still got one more slot open if you want your story read on OPP. Might be working on a special guest to read one of the stories, too. Go ahead and come on out. Just get a day pass to Dragon Con. You'll be able to find both the OPP show and Night Attack on Saturday night. I wonder if we can get these ladies up here. 5th grade teacher at Arncos Sargent Elementary in Noonan called the police after she spotted the tattoo on a 12-year-old girl wearing a strapless dress at a school dance back in March. The tattoo, which was on the girl's shoulder, was a blush green cross with the word Jesus above the cross and loves below it. The girl originally told authorities that her father made her get the tattoo and that her mother got into a fight with him after she found out about it. But the child later changed her story and said her father didn't make her get the tattoo. At the time, she said she wanted to get the tattoo and that her father never mistreated her. The father denied the girl's story and said that his daughter got the tattoo at a Super Bowl party in Sargent. No! No! My God, this gets worse. At a Super Bowl party? That was an interesting Super Bowl, too. And the Falcons were in it. You're telling me you can't... That's not interesting enough when your hometown team is at a Super Bowl party? You got to tattoo a 12-year-old? Oh, my God. Atlanta blew a 25-point lead, and this mother blew 6 months in jail. Holy shit. Here we go. According to the father, each of the parents had a different story, and it boiled down to frankly just finger pointing, said Coweta County Sheriff Lieutenant Jason Fettner. According to Fettner, investigators were able to confirm that an aspiring tattoo artist identified as Brenda Gaddy gave tattoos to several people, including a number of minors at the party. Gaddy was videotaped tattooing one of these minors. More than a dozen people watched. After initially denying the charges, the tattoo artist admitting to giving the child the tattoo, but said that the mother gave her permission to do so. Oh, no. Oh, I think it's unfortunate that the child wanted to get the tattoo, says Fettner. It's not like the child was forced to get it. It just comes down to bad parenting. Gaddy was charged with tattooing the body of a person under the age of 18. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. If you are just listening to this, I need you to go to patreon.com/JuRY or the SoundCloud, wherever you can find show notes for this. Because I'm going to link this story. And the punchline here is very visual. All right? So you're going to need to see the visuals on this when we bring it up. This is the tattoo. I'm going to show this here on the screen. This is the tattoo that was given. It is garbage. Garbage. Garbargerino. Garbaggio. This is the worst tattoo I have ever seen. It looks like a doodle in a notebook. It is in bubble letters that are not even really spaced out. Jesus. And then a cross that you would draw with your non-dominant hand, and over top of it, another squiggly bubble letter loves. It is awful. The fact that you would want to put that on a child. I mean, I could understand if it was a decent tattoo, to be honest with you, because I'm sure that there's some cultures out there that put tribal tattoos on kids. I think that there is an element, there is a window here that I am willing to play the cultural card. And I'm even willing to suspend my disbelief and say that rednecks who are bored at a goddamn Super Bowl party, where their own team is in the Super Bowl, could be cultural enough that they need a tattoo. But at least, come on now. At least have the decency. At least have the decency to be a good tattoo artist. This is disgusting. And by the way, you got to imagine that they were doing this when the Falcons were up, right? If you are not up on sports, it was kind of a famous Super Bowl because the Falcons were leading at a commanding rate, and then they blew a historic lead to lose the game. Like, how frustrating must that be? How frustrating must it be to be so excited as a bunch of Falcon fans that you're tattooing your children? Nothing can go wrong. We got to tattoo these kids to remember this event. And then next thing you know, Tom Brady comes back, ruins your life, and your kid has some crappy little Etch-a-Sketch doodle on his shoulder. Her shoulder. Oh, Jesus. M. Beam in the chat asks, if you replace Jesus with JuRY, would it be more acceptable? Yes. In fact, that should be our next emote, is JuRY loves, with that exact logo. In fact, if somebody can get me a JuRY loves logo, we will make a T-shirt and we'll do something with it. It's probably sacrilegious. I probably shouldn't have said that, but whatever. Who cares? YOLO. Here's somebody that's YOLOing. Tay-Tay. Taylor Swift came out with a new song last week. It's called Look What You Made Me Do. It has become a very controversial song. A lot of people don't like it, is the problem. They think it's a bad song. And I'm going to do a little lyric breakdown. My buddy Tamar mentioned to me, hey, it's funny every once in a while when you guys do a lyric breakdown, when you do a lyric breakdown. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. This is a big song. It's big on the radio. It just broke all kinds of records for Spotify streams and YouTube play records. Like it is gigantic, right? But it's not popular. So let's explore. Stoic Squirrel says, "Look what you made me do." Sounds like what an abusive husband says after beating his wife. Not incorrect. In fact, I have heard that. I have heard that it is a little too on the nose like that. All right, here we go. Look what you made me do. We're gonna break down these lyrics. Can't play the song or else this video will get banned on YouTube. So, this is spoken at the beginning. All right, I don't like your little games. I don't like your tilted stage. All right, here, we're going to stop it right now. I don't like your tilted stage is a reference to Kanye West, who in support of his album in which he had a lyric saying, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? Because I made that bitch famous. He was touring with a gigantic tilted stage. So not only is she saying, oh, you've been unfair to me, you've tilted the stage, Kanye was on a literal tilted stage. Okay. The role you made me play of the fool, no, I don't like you. I don't like your perfect crime. How you laugh when you lie. You saw the gun was mine, isn't cool. No, I don't like you. Now, we begin to see the problem with this song. Because it's going from this very kind of you wronged me middle school sort of juvenile kind of thing, interplayed with some like fairly macabre kind of imagery, which ultimately just makes it seem like a middle school haunted house, right? So you can't be like, you are mean to me and my friends. Also, I will slit your throat. Like, it doesn't make, you can't have both. You can't say like I am really mad at you. Also, I've buried the body of somebody in my den. This is the cask of Amontillado. Poe reference. I guess that was in a tomb. Anyway, all right. I fucked up the Poe reference. Moving on. But I got smarter, I got harder in the nick of time. Honey, I rose from the dead. I do it all the time. I've got a list of names, and yours is red underlined. I check it once, then I check it twice. Oh! All right. So, again, we're switching gears. We go from, this is a mean, scary song, right? To now she's doing like a lady empowerment. You know, this is fight song, right? This is all the like oh, like you thought I was down, but I'm not down. I'm coming around. Like, this is just a very pat sort of female empowerment. You know, like, you left me for dead and here I come. Which then, and we can't play the audio because we're going to get it flagged, but like, then we go, Larkstrid in the chat room says, so she has a death note, effectively. So then we move into what I think is the best part of the song, which is the chorus, which I actually kind of like. I just think it should be in a more fun song. Because right now she has a very down note song. You are mean. I am wounded, but I am coming to get you. And then it comes into this very, like, almost industrial sort of a spoken, sort of sexy chorus. Ooh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me. Look what you made me. Look what you made me do. And it's like, it's kind of fun. But the problem is, you need that with, like, it should be like Blank Space. Like her other song where she's like, I'm a crazy human being. I will make your life miserable, but we'll probably have sex. Like, that was great. It painted a character. I knew who she was. It was evocative of her public image. Like, it played on public ideas. I don't know if she's actually some sort of, crazy 48-hour lay that is going to all of a sudden turn into Crazy Pants McGirt. But she wrote a song that made me believe it would. And I would say if that were this song, if she was like, I'm a crazy person and I'm doing crazy sex, but I'm also mean because Kim Kardashian was mean to me. I'm Taylor Swift. Look at me. And then she was like, ooh, look what you made me do. I'd be like, yeah, this is a party song. I'm going to go to a party. I'm going to make some bad decisions. And somebody is gonna have sex with me because I made them do something, and that something was me. Media King 909 says it is another song. It shares the pacing with I'm Too Sexy, to the point where Right Said Fred actually has songwriting credit on this because they accidentally made it too close to it. But at the same time, I'm Too Sexy is not. Yeah, that's a fun party song, but it's not exactly trying to evoke a character, right? All right, so then she comes back. I don't like your kingdom keys. They once belonged to me. So, all right, I was popular, I guess, and now I'm not popular. You asked for a place to sleep, locked me out and threw a feast. What? The world moves on. All right, and then she goes, and I actually kind of like this kind of breakdown here because this is kind of more her speed. So number one, all right, she's playing the victim here. I don't like your kingdom keys. They once belonged to me. You stole something from me, and then you celebrated about it. So I guess she was friends with Kanye West, and then she wasn't. I don't know. So the world moves on. And so this is kind of spoken again. Like, the world moves on another day, another drama. But not for me. All I think of is karma. The world moves on, but one thing's for sure. Maybe I got mine, but you'll all get yours. So now this is like, she's just lashing out. She's just very, very angry. She's very upset about this. And then she goes back into her smarter, harder, yada, 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 like what you made me do. Here's where things kind of jump the shark, though. This is where it goes into full, what the fuck are you doing, Taylor? So she goes, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. I'll be the actress staring in your bad dreams. Which I actually kind of like. I like that coupling. I think that's pretty cool. But again, this isn't her. Like, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. I don't know. Like, Taylor, you got your face on UPS trucks. You are corporately safe. I would trust you. If Taylor Swift asked me to co-sign on her loan, or she's like, I'm like, hey, Taylor, I'll loan you $1,000. I would expect I'd get paid back. She seems like a very trustworthy person. It's not like she's got some, it's not like she's Amy Winehouse. If Amy Winehouse was like, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me, I'd be like, yeah, because if I left you in my apartment, you'd pawn my television for crack. R.I.P. Amy Winehouse. But you can't just be spoiled millionaire lady and be like, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. You have $1 million in endorsements. Easily. But here's the problem. And all of a sudden it goes to telephone. She says, I'm sorry, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Taylor goes, oh, 'cause she's dead. Oh, chorus. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look, made me, look what you made me do. Oh my God, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. I'm sorry the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? 'Cause she's dead. Click. The phone is calling from inside the $1 million trailer. It's a horror story. Oh, is Taylor dead? Oh, it's spooky. Spooky Taylor Swift. Oh, she's a zombie in the video. Oh, I'm Taylor Swift and I may be a vampire. I'll bite your neck and we'll fly real high. I'm the creature from the Black Lagoon now. I am a robot, but I may be a ghost. I'm Taylor Swift and I'm scary the most. Sidon writes, I feel like more zombie Amy Winehouse. If zombie Amy Winehouse would be amazing. That would be great. That being said, I'll tell you what, man, Taylor Swift knows how to do it. That lady is right now at the top of the music scene with a single that I don't think is really that good, and I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I will say I like the video. I do like the video. I think it's pretty good, and she's a lot more self-aware. It involves her interacting with like 12 other versions of herself, including yelling at the ones that are the most annoying, which I think is driving things a little head on. So Space NML says a Vincent Price Harmontown breakdown would improve things. Taylor Swift looks across the smoky moors only to see a hex in store. Bubbling, churning spiders' brains, Taylor Swift is here to gain. Locked out of her kingdom come, with a Frankenstein in tow. She's got a blank space here, but it's a crypt for you, my dear. Nailed the Cask of Amontillado reference. Poe for life. There we go. All right. Let's get into who else is quoting Cask of Amontillado? Come on. Come at me, bro. Who else is dropping cask references? Cask refs. Wikipedia it. Shit. Do I have the right one? If I got the wrong fucking post story, I'm going to piss my pants. Cask. Because I always get Cask of Amontillado and Telltale Heart mixed up. Yeah, it's that dude who goes looking for the cask and gets locked into the goddamn crypt, right? Is that it? Yeah, all right. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the stuff that's going on in Harvey right now. Big issue over the weekend when Joel Osteen, who is a mega pastor, one of them mega pastor folks, who has a 16,000 plus arena that he preaches in the Houston area, that was shut down due to well, I mean, who knows? Nobody knew. So this was the story. We have an update on it. This is from the New York Post. Televangelist Joel Osteen canceled services at his Houston megachurch Sunday and has yet to reopen its doors, despite the fact that thousands of flooded-out residents are desperately seeking shelter. The perpetually smiling pastor told followers on Twitter Monday to lean on their faith. Quote, Jesus promises us peace that passes understanding. That's peace when it doesn't make sense. But Osteen's comforting words didn't sit well with his critics, who want to know why the doors of his 16,800-seat arena at the Lakewood Church near downtown Houston is closed. Quote, you've taken so much money away from the people to live like a king, entertainment publicist Danny DeRaney blasted. It's the least you could do. Washington, D.C.-based writer Charles Clymer tweeted pictures of the Lakewood Church, which did not appear to be damaged by floods. It doesn't make sense why you're not here opening up your mega church to house Houston citizens. Help me understand that, Jesus. So let me say this. In general, I don't want to necessarily hear about criticism of the religious stuff from outside the religious community. Now, I'm outside the religious community, so I know how easy it is to just throw rocks and Molotov cocktails in there. What I like to see is when people inside the religious community begin complaining about it. Then I, as somebody outside of it, understand that it's more of a big deal. Now, there are a lot of things going on here. Number one, these churches are tax exempt. So it's a lot easier to make a lot of money when people are giving it to you for free and you don't got to pay taxes on it. You can do a lot, and a lot of these mega pastors do, including building gigantic houses, gigantic facilities like the one that we're talking about, and private planes, which I'm pretty sure Joel Osteen has. Now, there is an update on this. Joel Osteen has opened up his church that we were referring to. Maybe a little bit later than some would have wanted, but this is a CNN story. The megachurch, led by Joel Osteen, is receiving people who need shelter and also helping evacuees with such supplies such as baby food, formula, and other shelter needs, the church announced via Twitter Tuesday morning. Lakewood Church was under fire after apparently not opening up the church to flood victims. The church disputed online criticism, saying, "We are prepared to shelter people once the city and county shelters reach capacity." Osteen tweeted Tuesday, "Victoria and I," his wife, "care deeply about our fellow Houstonians. Lakewood's doors are open and we are receiving anyone who needs shelter." Lakewood Church, who was founded by Osteen's father in the 50s, posted on social media that the venue was inaccessible due to severe flooding. But many on social media criticized the church for not taking people in. Church disputed the backlash. "We have never closed our doors. We will continue to be a distribution center for those in need. We are prepared to shelter people," yada, yada, yada. Photos provided by the church showed standing water in hallways and in the parking lot. The church already had a flood wall in place following a previous storm. Oh my God, the church, which occupies the former home of the Houston Rockets, that they have an old fucking basketball stadium? Holy shit. Wow, that's big. Oh my God. Yeah, they should open that. That should you should definitely have to yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize. Wow. I thought they'd built their own structure, but I guess it makes sense just to take over a basketball arena. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's not a bad idea. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the real big takeaway here is, aside from the idea that I don't think that oftentimes it necessarily helps to just throw those bombs. Specifically, if we don't know. I mean, so their point is, Lakewood Church's point is like, hey, look, we were flooded. We couldn't take people in because we were dealing with our own flooding, and we were waiting to see if other shelters hit capacity. But on the other hand, if that's really what you were waiting for, then shouldn't you have responded to that? Like, I feel like you got to have some kind of response. I didn't realize it was a basketball arena. I thought it was just a big church. If it's a basketball arena, you got to have an answer as soon as the storm comes in. You got to say, hey, look, we're flooded. We can't take anybody right now. As soon as we can, we will. Or you got to say, hey, look, we're opening today. Or we're opening Monday. That's my guess. I don't know. Stoic Squirrel says, so it's like you see someone being assaulted, but you wait until somebody else calls the police before you do. Yeah, I mean, I guess more shelters is always better, right? Like, it's not like you're aiming for efficiency when human lives are on the line. Like, certainly if you're filled, but even that, you'd want as many shelters open as possible so the people there are, you know, as comfortable as possible, and you're not getting people assholes to elbows in there. Aside from the fact that your parishioners will probably find it a lot more. Is that parishioners for them? I don't even know what religion he is. But your churchgoers will probably find it more comforting to be there. Yeah, I'm working my way back. They fucked that up. Osteen should have had it. He should have had it going on. Osteen 316 says, I just closed my church. Let's move on from religion. I had a couple religion stories. Let's just talk about hurricanes in general. We began talking about hurricanes. Let's end talking about hurricanes. This is something by the Dallas Morning News, great newspaper out of the Big D. Here's an amazing headline. This is just a great headline. This is take notes, man, especially in the internet age. This is a Twitter fucking headline. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done, says man who rode out Harvey with wife and 4 dogs in a truck. I am reading that story. There is no way that I am not reading the story with the headline, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever done," says man who rode out Harvey with wife and 4 dogs in a truck. Port Arasis. The walls began to contract, squeeze, and yanked by the 130-mile-per-hour winds of the punishing storm Bill and Paulette Rogers had foolishly underestimated. With a resounding crack around 10 p.m., the 2-story beach home shook. A tree tore through the upstairs bedroom. The frames and a wall clock came crashing down, and water surged in, fast, warm, and deadly. It was then that Bill Rogers, 61, knew he'd made a big mistake by staying home. "Get the dogs," he shouted. "Move it. We gotta go now." Bill, a lifelong mechanic with tough hands and soft blue eyes, had spent Friday morning boarding up the windows. Paulette, his wife of 40 years, had picked up the groceries and sundries they figured were enough to outlast the Category 2 hurricane. Thanks to a generator, they spent the evening watching TV news of excitable people fleeing the coast. With their cell phones, they rebuffed texts from Misty and Will, their grown children, who begged them to evacuate with hundreds of their neighbors. But they'd weathered bigger storms, they thought, when we were on the weekend. This is a problem, man. This is a problem. If you are on the coast of a hurricane, you're in one of those coastal cities, you have got to get the fuck out. You've got to get the fuck out. The cell towers fell. Nowhere to go. No contact. Their children watching helplessly as well-organized and powerful hurricane named Harvey swirled around Port Aransas, promising catastrophic storm surge and deadly rains. The Focus was being submerged, so they transferred to Bill's white Ford F1 250 Super Duty. Bill plowed through the water, swallowing up his home, headed for a patch of high ground, a driveway at his neighbor's house. He turned the corner nearly there and then slammed on the brakes. 3 boats, still attached to their trailers, were whipping in the tide, blocking his way. He tried to maneuver, but the steering wheel wouldn't crank. Something was stuck on the axle. Water was spilling into the cab. Paulette set the toys, a Chihuahua and Pomeranian, on the dashboard, and the other 2 holding their own 2 back seat. This shit is harrowing. This shit is harrowing. I have goosebumps on the back of my neck. Holy fuck. Bill opened the door to check if he could dislodge the debris. He stepped onto the running board, and his feet instantly slipped under him. His body claimed by the surge, rushing back to the harbor 200 yards in the distance. With all he could muster, he held onto the door in his life. Paulette reached out and grabbed him. "If you're dying today, I'm coming with you," she remembers saying. Holy shit. Bill reached for the running boards only to slip off. Finally, he heaved himself into the cab, tried and unable to go back out. At midnight, they sat and prayed. The water surged in and in, over the tops and over the dashboard, 5 feet above the road. As Harvey raged on, crawling toward Rockport, where at least one person died, Paulette prayed and talked about their plans for the future. Bill called himself stupid repeatedly. As a young man in Fort Worth, he had raced motorcycles, and he'd once even tried to jump a river. But he would live to tell a reporter, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever done." Bill and Paulette told each other, "I love you." The water did not relent as the dark early morning wore on, and they sat, water to their shoulders, in the cab of a trunk, now buoyant, bobbing with the boats on the street. For a moment at a time, they gave in to the exhaustion and slept. Quote Paulette, "If you had to pee, you just peed." Oh, standing belly clap. Standing belly clap. What an amazing story. I'm shooting. Who wrote this? Is it an L or a J? J. David McSwain, data and enterprise reporter. That is awesome. So well written. Please read this entire thing. That's only a portion of the article. I don't even have any comments. Aside from, again, if you are on a coastal town, you got to get the fuck out. Whether or not it makes sense that you can survive it, the problem with living on a coastal town in a hurricane situation is that emergency rescue won't come get you. So if you are fucked, you're fucked permanently, like those people who were peeing in their car trying to survive that hurricane. Oh my God. That was amazing. Here's what else is amazing. You can email this show, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Neil writes, I watched you play Hearthstone, and I think you got me hooked. Or I'm just looking for an excuse to not do things that advance my life. I have a lot of ideas I want to do, but I don't seem to do them. My two main things are photography and a comic idea. The photography, I need to learn Adobe and practice. This would help in the career path I want to take. I'm currently working night shift in a factory. I do internal shipping, so I'm left alone with a computer to get work done. No one bugs me, and it's great. Until I think about the future, I don't want to be stuck here. The comic ideas I just like to create to be rattling around in my head and won't go away. Doing both of these things would make me feel better. I just don't do them. I find other ways to occupy my time. My wife thinks I have imposter syndrome. I could go on, but you get the gist. I just wanted to vent. Thanks for the shows. Great minds think alike. I tell my wife, please don't die if she went on trips, because it covers everything that could happen. All right. Let me just tell you something, Neil. Number one, ideas are dumb. What you need to do is not focus on trying to make an idea in your head a reality. You got to focus on building your machine. Your machine is your output, what you do. So think about what is making you more likely to do something every day. All right? So for example, if you are going to go do a comic, if you're going to start taking photographs, what can you do today that gets you better at that? Probably take some photographs. That's easy. Probably got a phone. You can take phone photographs and start working on them. Throw them into Photoshop. Start fucking with Photoshop. Take some Photoshop tutorials. Just do your best, right? Keep building the machine. You're not going to magically make the idea in your head reality. What you're going to do is slowly build up skill sets that make new ideas that you have a reality. And your wife's good. And she's right. You have imposter syndrome. So I don't know why you have an imposter syndrome. You work night shift at a warehouse, right? What are you imposing? You got a blank slate, baby. Write your own name. David writes, I'm not sure I understand how infidelity makes Joss Whedon less of a feminist. Keep in mind, I don't really know much about him, and I'm not saying this makes him a good person, but in the same sense, Tiger Woods isn't a bad athlete because he cheated. He's just an asshole. I'm not sure why you went on that tangent about Joss Whedon feminism during the episode. Well, I went on the tangent because he got lit on fire by his wife in public. So it was a news story. That's why I talked about it. Yeah, I think I think you agree with me, David, to be honest with you, because Joss Whedon's job is to be a director. I don't think he's a worse director or a writer because he cheated on his wife. In fact, one might make the argument based on the revelations in that letter that he is fueled by his infidelities to do work as good as that. However, if he is leading people on to make people think he is one thing when really he is another thing, then that does kind of make him an asshole, right? He's misrepresenting his views. And if people did not take that evidence to be sufficient that he was not honest, then that's up to them. He threw himself. He got thrown on the court of popular opinion, and he was judged wanting. So that's why I talked about it. Dav from Calgary writes, I love the Hitman call out on the show. Oh yeah, he talking to me about how he should handle conservative folks when he talks about his mom being bisexual. Says, love the Hitman call out on the show, except for one little thing you almost certainly didn't know. I used to date a pro wrestler. Ray Palomino wrestles for the ECCW here in the Pacific Northwest. Man, I am intimately familiar with bulldogs, pile drivers, shoots, works. Hell, one night I was put into what I can only describe as a sexy figure four. Ooh la la. I hope you turned it over and reversed the pressure. How in the world are you able to call that out so accurately? Well, because literally the only thing I know about Calgary is the Stampede Festival and the Hart family. Another David writes, hearing many emails being sent in about how folks are feeling lonely, and I've heard a thing mentioned a few times, and it really bears mentioning. Sex and romance are a common thing being listed in a thing that makes people lonely. I cannot stress this enough. Getting laid and or finding a romantic partner is not, and I repeat, not a cure for your loneliness. One, it's a Rick and Morty, Jerry Smith level crutch that guarantees your relationship or hookup situation will end with you getting dumped, likely not in a graceful way. Two, it's a dick move by you. You're irresponsibly putting an unfair amount of emotional weight on this other person, making them carry your well-being when really you got to go carrying that shit yourself. JuRY said it best when he said you got to be the kind of person that you'd want to meet. You got to be comfortable in your own skin and have things in life that make you happy before you go out looking for love or lust. Play a sport, join a curling club, Canadian, whatever. It doesn't matter so much what it is, as long as it's something that you enjoy that gets you out and interacting with your community. How do I know this, you asked? Because I have been that unfair butthole. I know what lurks in the hearts of the lonely. I've been there and done that. I'd latch on to a lady and make her my entire world. And let me be the first to say that is unsustainable. People don't take well to filling an empty hole in somebody else's life. And when they inevitably leave because of this, you'll crash hard. Do not set yourself up for this kind of heartbreak. Just an observation that I thought should be pointed out. I 100% agree, and you, another David, are very smart. And finally, Andrew from Oregon. Thank you for the good words on loneliness in the last few podcasts. My fiance left me a month ago, and while we are still talking some and have drunkenly hooked up a few times, it's been really a difficult transition from having constant companionship to mostly being by myself day in and day out. I got a pretty good friend group who will be going to Burning Man with me later in the week, and I'm hoping the biggest party in the world will have a good distraction to keep my overactive brain quiet. Anyway, thanks again. Your words have helped me on a healing track, keeping up the good work. Andrew, I hope you are listening to this on the playa, and you trade 4 handmade friendship bracelets for Molly, and you are super fucked up. In fact, I'll tell you what. Stop the podcast right now if you're not listening to this high on ecstasy. All right? Pause it now. Go get some ecstasy. Go trade, 4 buttons for ecstasy. And then start playing it again. All right, here we go. Hold on. Wait a minute. This is for Andrew. But you got to be on ecstasy. You have to be on ecstasy for this, okay? So if you're not on ecstasy, I swear to God, go get ecstasy. If you've never done ecstasy before, please go do it for the first time and then play. I'm doing this just for you, Andrew. Literally just for you on the playa. Here we go.
Andrew from Oregon. You have made a wise decision. Your relationship is in shambles, but I am here to tell you that it is not my will to see you with your ex-fiancé. In fact, it is the opposite of my will. You need to get away. Get away from the ex-fiancé. What about that one girl on the playa with airplane goggles? who only has a Lisa Frank design over her left nipple. She looks cute. What do you say you go hook up with her? Have a lot of sex at Burning Man. Have a lot of sex at Burning Man and make that the wedge. Make that the wedge between your old relationship. You are doing better now. You are doing the best you can. Yes! 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 Also, thank you for doing ecstasy for the first time. I think it really adds something to the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so justinrobinyoung@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at Justin R. Young, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. A reminder, DragonCon. If you're not high on ecstasy with Andrew from Oregon, you can see me at DragonCon Saturday. That's about it. New stickers and stickers are DIAF. Till next time, this is my ethereal form telling you to please go!
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.